Okay. It's the first time I've seen it do that.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Soul Survivor. Today we are in Sudbury, a historic town located in Greater Boston's Metro West region, getting ready to take a look at our next haunted location.
Established in 1639, the town of Sudbury, Massachusetts lies about 20 miles west of the state's capital of Boston. Named after Sudbury of Suffolk, England, this Sudbury would become the Commonwealth's 19th settlement and one of the country's oldest towns. The spring of 1676 would see the town nearly razed by Native American forces under command of King Philip, where 74 colonists would be killed in what would come to be known as the Sudbury Fight. Many soldiers from Sudbury would later participate in the battles of Lexington and Concord in 1775, sniping unwary British soldiers returning to Boston. A significant historical preservation effort would take place in Sudbury beginning in 1923, when Henry Ford, founder of the Ford Motor Company, would begin acquiring land and restoring properties, apparently going as far as moving a famous schoolhouse 40 miles from Sterling, Massachusetts, back to town.
According to his chauffeur, Ford would fall in love with the town at first sight, building the grist mill you see behind me, as well as purchasing what some consider to be America's oldest run inn, which just so happens to be where I'll be spending my night.
Built in 1686 and opened as Howe's Tavern in 1716, Longfellow's Wayside Inn has been claimed to be one of, if not the, oldest continuously run inns in America. Although temporary closings and a massive fire in 1955 that almost gutted the entire building has thrown that record into question. Luckily, the fires have not stopped burning here at the Wayside. Noted poet Henry Wadsworth Longfellow would visit the inn in 1862 while it was still going by the name of Red Horse Tavern, and referred to the establishment in his published collection of poems, Tales of a Wayside Inn, as Old Hobgoblin Hall. This same collection of poems would include The Landlord's Tale, which is now more commonly known as Paul Revere's Midnight Ride, beginning with the famous lines, "Listen, my children, and you shall hear of the midnight ride of Paul Revere." Longfellow would make the Red Horse Tavern a landmark of American literature, with the establishment officially changing its name to Longfellow's Wayside Inn in 1897. But long before poets and travelers made this inn famous, there was one woman whose presence truly defined it: Jerusha Howe, sister to the final original owner of the property, Lyman Howe. Born in 1797 to Adam and Jerusha Balcom Howe, whom she was named after, Jerusha would help her younger brother Lyman to run the inn that had been in their family since 1716. Known to many in the area as the Belle of Sudbury, the young woman would entertain guests with her charm, as well as her musical prowess with piano, being the first in town to own one. Although she would reject many suitors, Jerusha would soon fall in love with a traveling Englishman who would propose marriage between the two. He would depart with the promise of a swift return once arrangements were made in England, but as the story goes, their union was not meant to be. As days turned to weeks, and the weeks to months, it would become apparent that Jerusha's fiancé would never return from his journey, leaving the young woman distraught and heartbroken. Jerusha would never marry, continuing to help her brother run the inn until her death in 1842 from tuberculosis. But this would not be the end of Jerusha's story. As legend states, she still haunts the halls and rooms of the Wayside Inn. The earliest reported sighting dates back to 1868, where a note left by the hostess describes an incident where a misty spirit was spotted floating through the old hall. Other reported hauntings include disembodied voices, sounds of the piano playing floating through halls, and Jerusha herself haunting her former bedroom, room number 9, where she will take interest in men who are staying overnight alone. And this is where I'll be spending my night. The new piece of equipment I'll be testing this week is a major component of the modern-day ghost hunter's gear, and something I've been looking forward to getting my hands on. The Radiating Electromagnetism, or REM pod. Operating by releasing a magnetic field around itself via an antenna, the REM pod alerts its users to any electromagnetic or temperature changes in the area, with a series of lights and sound. Think of it as a K2 meter mixed with a motion sensor. The most expensive piece of tech I've acquired to date. I'm hoping the REM pod proves its worth in my investigations. Okay, it's time to check in and check out our room for the night. Well, not quite as large as the public house, but I like it. Even got 2 beds. There's a photo of the Howe family grave here on the wall. Okay, as usual, I'm going to do a walk around the room with the K2 meters and see what we can pick up.
Getting a few small spikes here and there. Could just be interference from everybody downstairs, though. Of course, this thing isn't working at all. Good evening, Jerusha Howe. My name is James, and I will be spending a few hours with you here tonight. I cannot audibly hear anything you are saying to me, but the device in my hand will allow me to hear you after the fact. My name is James. Can you say James back to me through this device? Can you tell me the name of the inn that we are staying in, or maybe even the name of the town? Okay, Jerusha, I am going to be stepping out momentarily, but I'm going to leave this device behind for you to speak into. Try your hardest to say something or make your presence known. I will be back shortly. Okay, so I'm going to put the audio motion sensor facing the door and the audio recorder fairly close next to that. Hopefully we can catch something. Alright, so I'm going to leave the audio recorder right here on the edge of the table, fairly close to the audio motion sensor, which is pointed at the door. I set up several motion sensor lights throughout the room, as well as the 2 cameras to catch any activity in the room while I'm gone. With all of my equipment in place, I leave the room for a short amount of time, hoping to catch something while I'm gone. Little did I know that shortly after leaving the room, the motion sensor light would trigger behind me. Alright, I just got back to the room. I stopped down at the bar real quick and got myself a stone wall. I'm ready to proceed on with the investigation. So one interesting thing I've read multiple times about the inn is what has come to be known as the Secret Drawer Society, a tradition where patrons will write down their experiences in the room as well as encounters with Jerusha, hiding them for others to find in the future. So it was my intention to search the room for a few of these notes to read to you guys, but as you can see, we're not going to have to do too much searching. Okay, let's take a look at a few of these. I searched and searched, but I could not. Looks like half of the note is missing. There's flowers inside of the actual note here. There's little flower petals there. Wrapped up inside the note. Not that old, May 5th, 2025. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity to stay in a famous inn, room 9 here at Wayside Inn. The experience was unusual. Very cold, then too hot all night. Don't know if it was me or the room. Here are some bleeding heart petals and a purple pansy I picked from your garden. I enjoyed my experience and am very grateful to have been able to sleep and dine at this inn. I hope when I stay again, you will be so gracious to have such a good experience. Thank you. All right. 12/27/24. We're here celebrating my daughter's 22nd birthday. This was our first time staying overnight. We loved room number 9, hoping to make this an annual mother-daughter tradition. Well, happy almost 23rd birthday. All right, we'll take a look at a few more of these in a little bit. Let's get back to that investigation. Okay, so the inn seems to be pretty quiet at this point. I'm going to go take a look at the rest of the building, but before I do, I'm going to readjust all of these sensors, because I actually realized that this was the original main door to the bedroom. Alright, I'm going to set up this camera facing towards the bathroom. I'm going to set up a camera right here to watch that side of the room. And finally, how about we give the REM pod its first trial run? There's still other people staying here tonight, so I'll probably be a little bit quiet during this walkthrough.
Alright, before we get on to our midnight EVP session, I figure we could take a look at a couple more of these notes. Alright, let's see what this one says. It's been a long run, 25 years. It's been so much fun. Our little boy stayed with us in room 9. We are all still fine. 17th of March, 2022. Alright, this note says, Hello, Jerusha. Thank you for allowing us a pleasant stay in this beautiful space. Maybe we'll have a chance to meet in the next realm. I like it. Alright, this one says, Have you found the treasure on the roof over the couch or the hidden corner near the small bed? If you have, keep it a secret. I love spending time with friends and fam, and it's such a great experience. And almost turning 13, have fun nights. 20th of October, 2025. Interesting. A secret, you say? Alright, that's enough of that for now. Let's get on to the EVP session. Okay, greetings, Jerusha Howe. If you can hear me, I want to let you know that I cannot audibly hear anything you are saying. You're going to have to try your hardest to say something into this device or make another sound in the room. Try to make something move. Can you say my name, James? Try and say it clear as you can. Can you say your own name, Jerusha? Say it back to me. Can you say the name of this building? Can you say the name of the town we are in? There's a picture of your family burial plot on the wall. Can you tell me anything about your brother Lyman? What was it like working with him running the inn? Can you tell me the name of the man you were supposed to be married to? I read that you liked to play the piano. There's one down the hall. Maybe we can hear you play it at some point tonight. Okay, Jerusha, that's gonna have to do it for now. Thank you for any replies you may have given me. Alright, we're getting to the end of the night, everyone. I'm gonna take one final look around the building, and when I get back, we'll do the spirit box session. I'm going to leave all the devices as is, except this time I'm going to add in the laser net. Okay. It's the first time I've seen it do that. Seems to be just in this little hall.
Okay, Jerusha Howe, this is your last opportunity to make contact with me for the night. Try and say my name. I need you to try and say my name, James, back to me through the device in my hand. Can you say your own name, Jerusha, back to me? Can you tell me the name of this inn? Can you say your brother Lyman's name? Okay, come on, Jerusha. We need a response here. Can you sit on the bed next to me? They say you like men who are alone, so now is your chance. Okay, Jerusha, just one final question. Did you meet Zach Bagans? Okay, checkout is in a couple hours, so I'm going to try to get some sleep. Why don't we wrap the night up with a couple more of these notes? So this one says, to Jerusha, thank you for allowing us to stay in your room. You were the perfect hostess. This one says, Dear Jerusha, our second year here. It's tradition now, and we're so grateful. Should we come back in October or December? You know best. Our daughters are getting older. They are a lot, but also amazing and strong. Life is very good, and we are so blessed to be here. Thank you for welcoming us and sharing this most special place. We look forward to many years here. It's 2023, so the Patriots really stink, but we are mass folk for life. Okay, and finally we have February 1st, 2025. Our 6th time staying at the Wayside Inn, and it never disappoints. We never get bored exploring all the memories that were made here. Enjoy creating your own. Jen and Brian. And that's that. See you guys in the morning. What the hell does Zach Bagans have that I don't, huh? Alright everyone, it was pretty quiet the rest of the night. I'm fairly certain I slept in the bed alone, though I'll have to check the rest of the evidence when I get back. But before I go, I'm going to leave my own note hidden here for Jerusha in room number 9. With that done, it's time to head home and review all of the evidence. Okay, I have just finished going through all of the evidence twice, and Jerusha must have been playing hard to get because there wasn't much. So let's just get right into it. I had several small spikes with the basic K2 as well as a rather large one with the digital model, though I believe this was more likely due to interference from people visiting the inn or maybe even the wiring throughout the building. We did have one of the motion sensor lights activate earlier on in the investigation, which I find to be one of the more solid pieces of evidence recorded, due to the fact that none of the lights activate again throughout the entire night. There were no EVPs, no action with the laser grid, and unfortunately, the REM pod stayed quiet the entire time it was in use. We caught several interesting light anomalies, more than likely most of it being dust, except for that one that seems to give off its own light source. I didn't hear anything noteworthy through the spirit box, and the final thing I tested was the thermal camera. Though the only thing I recorded worthwhile was me screwing around. And with this episode reaching upwards of 45 minutes, I thought it best to cut that out. So is Longfellow's Wayside Inn haunted? From my experience, I would say no. At least not for that night. Add to this, I did have a long-time employee tell me that they have never experienced anything in the whole time that they've worked there. So there's that. But, as I've stated before, you're not going to catch something every time you visit a haunted location. So I'll definitely be back to visit the Wayside at some point in the future. All in all, I had a fantastic time at Longfellow's Wayside Inn. It's a location rich with history, and if you're in the area, make sure to stop by and maybe you'll have your own chance to see the ghost of Jerusha Howe. And I'll see you guys on the next one.